Happy Tuesday, everyone. This is another edition of Tuesday Morning Shenanigans, and we are inside Maui Comics and Collectibles. I am Aaron of the Rave Corner, and joining me is Swan the Nerd sorry?
The Nerd Chief?
The Nerd Chief.
Okay.
Yeah. So, you've been redubbed, but you are Swan the War Chief from Encounters of the Nerd Kind.
Also, I think we got renamed as not Comics and Collectibles, but Comics and Collectables. Because I got a flyer for an event that's going to be happening sometime this week.
Did somebody just write up a really bad pun?
No. They misspelled the word collectibles.
How do you...
Well, apparently you just put collectables. So we collect tables today. Welcome to Maui Comics and Collectables.
For starters, here's a nice wooden one. It's, Well,
we got more
nice
tables.
finish to it.
Well, I got to get more tables now. It's like the Dudley Wizard buying something.
Swan, get the tables.
Yeah.
All right, so today we're going to talk about, things... about kids, camp stuff.
Since summer is coming to an end, it's only right we talk about something to do with summer.
Yeah, something campy
and something.
Kids.
So like movies and TV shows. Do you remember any good TV shows?
Oh yeah. So when I was growing up, first thing that comes to my mind is a really good Nickelodeon TV show. It was called Salute Your Shorts. It's about a group of, I would say, preteens going to a camp in the woods called Camp Anawana. Of course, their counselor is mean at times. His name is Kevin Lee, but the kids like to call him Ugg. Play on words, Ugg Lee.
Yes, I get it.
And then, if that's the least of their worries, they also have this one guy who's a troublemaker. His name is Bobby Budnick. And so he'll bully kids. He'll even hustle them for money.
The old cliche bullies and ugly person and all that good stuff.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, when it comes to hazing, he's the first guy that will bother you. But at the same time, he also runs a pretty shady business of smuggling food into camp and selling them to kids, that kind of stuff. So he can be selfish at times. And then you have a kid named Sponge because he
is the last name Bob?
Nope.
Okay, damn.
Not SpongeBob, but he's called Sponge because according to Budnick, his brain soaks up information or you can squeeze out information like a sponge.
Okay, I get it.
Because he's very smart and he wears glasses, so they treat him like a real nerd.
That's actually pretty cool. Didn't know that.
Yeah.
Well, it's like on the movie part though. Sorry to interrupt you. Like I can think of like some good ones right off the bat, like Meatballs 1 and 2.
Yeah.
Like I was more of a fan of the second one just because they put a little alien kind of thing in there.
I gotta ask you though, since you saw the main actor in Meatballs, anytime he takes on a project from Grey's Anatomy and stuff like that, do you still look at him and say Meatballs? I mean, for me, it's hard for him to shed that.
Well, it's funny that you
off.
mentioned that because we were watching Grey's Anatomy one night with my grandma and she was around. God rest her soul. We were actually going and I was like Meatballs, and she's like, they were not from Meatballs. Like, okay, gives us a reason to pull up the video and we get to watch it. Other good movies I can think about is like Heavyweights. Remember the Ben Stiller?
Oh yeah, I remember that one.
That was a great movie as a kid. You gotta admit, like a bunch of kids are getting bullied by this one fit guy, and it's a fat camp.
You know what? Yeah, I mean the guy who's the camp counselor. I saw a little bit of him inside White Goodman.
Thank you.
I mean, think about it. It's White Goodman heckles people who are out of shape in his own private gym.
Wouldn't you be surprised though if Ben Stiller was to say, White Goodman actually came from when I was Tony from Heavyweights?
That would be fun.
It's actually a good thing. The only difference is he has a mustache.
Yeah.
And he owns a gym, and the guy's more of a D-bag in
a D-bag
dodgeball.
Entrepreneur.
Yeah, but other great movies I can think about is like Good Burger. Good Burger is a summer movie.
Oh yeah, that's
remember now. Kenan Thompson crashes his car into Sinbad's car in Summer Vacation.
Yeah,
so I'll consider that a summer movie.
Yes.
Some movies I thought was just weird and I didn't really like was just like Bushwhacked. Do you remember that one?
Oh yeah.
That was the weirdest storyline ever. For those who don't know what Bushwhacked is, it's like what a criminal of some sort becomes a camp director.
But I actually
kids like
no. So the guy who played Marv in Home Alone.
Yeah, it was this other weirdo.
No, yeah, well, he was actually a criminal on the run. So he retreats to the woods. He thought to lay low, I would disguise myself as a ranger. So nice. he kidnaps he didn't actually kidnap the ranger. Rather, he tricked him into gluing his hands and his chin to the steering wheel, and then he took over as the ranger. But in front of these Boy Scouts who believes that he is the ranger, and therefore they're now under his guide, and he's like, oh great, now I have to pretend to be a ranger while laying low and taking these kids out on a trip.
Now that's where my mom looked at me and goes, That's why you never go to summer camp. I'm like,
well,
that's not summer camp. It's more like a Boy Scout retreat. But there's many other reasons why I wouldn't.
To be honest, I actually kind of enjoyed the movie.
I have a bad habit of saying I don't like something, but secretly I do like it. I have an appreciation for it because it's a unique thought, and I did like how it wasn't really cliched through the movie.
Yeah.
Another movie I can think of was like Camp Nowhere. Do you remember that one? The kids all like end up going and they have their own personal camping time. Then when it comes to the parents visiting, it's like 20 different camps all of a sudden.
Yeah.
Like one's a health camp, one's a military facility. And what they do is they split their parents up into other things. Like, I remember the kid was like, Dad, get down, it's a paintball fight. What?
Wow. Yeah, yeah.
Like the gymnasium was for the fat camp. And then like, there's just so many weird ones.
Did the culmination have that go-kart race in the end? Or was that back
all
the way to fat camp?
That was back all the way to the fat camp.
All right.
But other movies I can think about that had to do with summer.
What about the Dweebs?
The Dweebs was actually a good one. Yeah.
Was it Dweebs or Deedles? The one with Paul Walker.
Oh, thank you.
Paul Walker and his other brother. It was shown on
Nickelodeon.
No, Disney.
Was it Disney?
Yeah, and
I watched it on Nickelodeon. You know.
Oh well, what?
But that's later on. I have the VHS.
I remember one of the henchmen being Robert Englund.
You know, you're actually not off on that. Robert Englund was actually the mastermind behind it all. The henchman was this weird guy, and they're using prairie dogs to go with the geyser.
The one. No, wait a minute. No. Robert Englund was one of the henchmen. The other guy was...
No, I believe it was Robert Englund was the main guy. I mean, it's been a while since I watched the movie.
Yeah.
We can do a commentary one day on it.
We might.
Maybe next summer. But I remember that movie very well, and that was actually on the list. Thanks for giving it out there. A lot of people don't like to acknowledge Paul Walker for that role, you know.
Why?
Because it's not Fast and the Furious. He's not behind a fast car.
His career cannot be defined so well. It is a shining moment of his career, but it cannot absolutely be defined solely based on those franchises.
See, the thing I loved about it as a kid was, it's just this movie that it worked. Like,
yeah, which is funny because you got two
surfer dudes getting
from
taken,
Hawaii,
yeah, and they're taken out of Hawaii,
yeah,
and then they just. They go out into the mainland.
Yeah, and then the Yellowstone geyser. They incorporate. Well, did they surf on the geyser as well? I forgot.
They did surf the geyser. Yeah, they did. But it's so hilarious though because they're the two experts for Yellowstone. They get mistaken as, and they're trapped in a tree by a bear the whole time.
Yeah, but these two female rangers they eat earth stuff, so they eat pine cones, they eat earthworms, or anything.
And then like my favorite part was when he's trying to trick the girl that he eats earthworms by using gummy worms.
Yeah, he just got it dirty. He dropped it on the dirt, like give it a little shake, and he's like, "Hey, look, here's a worm right here.
Here's a little worm," and it's like tastes like candy. Oh yeah, candy of the gods. Because it is candy.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, good Joe and Paul. You messed that one up.
Mm-hmm. So another TV show that's has to do with the summer is Hey Dude. These group of teenagers, in the summer they work in a ranch somewhere in Arizona, and it was a pretty short run series, 2 years or so.
Do you remember the Ernest movies though? Like
to be
Ernest
honest,
Goes to Camp?
I remember seeing a lot of Ernest movies. He was a big part of my culture, yet I never took the time to watch.
You never watched them? I've watched only 3 of them. Because there's like many Ernest movies. There's Ernest Goes to Africa.
Yeah.
That one I laughed at the most. I never got to watch it. Ernest Plays Basketball.
Now, it's a really good thing because it's a character that worked. Now,
Jim Varney, though, a lot of respect to him. God rest his soul.
Yeah.
He's no longer with us. He did such a great character.
It was a great character, but the only movie I saw with him in it that I watched...
Three Ninjas?
No, it wasn't Three Ninjas. It was actually...
Toy Story?
Beverly Hillbillies.
Okay. Because he was Slinky Dog in Toy Story.
Mm-hmm.
But as well... there's many other roles from him. I remember him from... My first role to him was Three Ninjas, High Noon, and Mega Mountain with Hulk Hogan.
Oh my goodness.
He was the guy with the sword when they're fighting on the roller coaster.
I did enjoy watching Three Ninjas, the first 2 movies, but
that
when
third
it came
one,
to the third, that's when I tapped out. I didn't even bother to watch it.
I feel so bad now because my exposure was they put the third. My mom's guys, you watch it backwards. The third movie's first, the first one's last. Then when I got to the first one as a kid, I was like, this movie's garbage compared to the third one.
Yeah.
And now as an adult, I'm like, oh boy, I really didn't know what I was talking about with this. I seriously did not know anything
back
about
then.
movies.
It's because back then they didn't even acknowledge prequels. It wasn't a thing until George Lucas actually stepped in and said, hey guys, this is a prequel. Because back then, any movie that came after the previous movies was acknowledged as a sequel. But or a trequel, or what's that term called? A sequel of a sequel?
I don't know. I just put it Inception.
Yeah, but you know that was the thing. Like any movie that came out afterwards, it's normally supposed to be a continuation, if not a separate story. Very rarely did people actually get away with telling a story before the previous movie.
True.
Or that actually dated to the previous movie.
True. Very true. What was it? Like my favorite characters were those three guys that are trying to kidnap the kids. They're like slackers. They're like, "Hey there, my good man."
Oh yeah, that's from
Give
the
you
first
all the
Three
register.
Ninjas.
Like,
that was a good one.
That was my favorite characters because no matter what, all the kids in my house all like to imitate those three guys.
Yeah, and they were from the 90s, so a
yeah,
lot of
the
that
90s,
culture absorbed it. Like, whoa, radical.
And it's like, Slurpee? Yeah. Dude. Like,
Radical.
totally, dude.
Yeah.
Man, this is some good za. We should use it for the kids we're nabbing. Wow, I bet you that's what we're known to use is za.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'm a hipster now. I'm a hipster now.
Oh, man.
Camp Lazlo would be another TV show that you could use as well, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it wasn't really about kids, but animals that go and they have like little camping adventures. And they'll do some weird stuff, and everything was named after a bean, like jelly bean, kidney bean, garbanzo bean. And that was actually a pretty interesting one. Which refers back to my favorite part in Heavyweights is when they go down and they're like, Chipmunks, unload, and they're like lifting up their shirts, all the candy.
Yeah.
A kid brings a deli meat out of his backpack. I'm like, what the heck is this? Then they're like, open the floorboard. Or the tree stump, and then they had all the fast food in the tree stump. Like, that made me think. I was like, wow, Fat Camp must be awesome.
Do you remember that one Olsen Twins movie where they go to this ranch?
Yeah.
I forgot the name of that.
Well, there's a bunch of Olsen movies.
Yeah,
that were in the summer.
back in their prime, they did one where they those two and their dad, they go to this ranch because it had fond memories of their lost mother. So they go there, but the ranch is struggling through business, but the owner, who's this really kind old lady, she wants to preserve it, whereas her son, Bart Gaffuli...
Now, speaking of which, would you consider this to be a movie, Big Fat Liar? Would that be a summer movie? Because technically, he was in summer school.
Yeah, he was in summer school,
but it doesn't establish that it's
kind of hard to acknowledge that because he's just a kid trying to get revenge in Hollywood against the wolf.
See, yeah. That was very racist, by the way. Like, that was some racist stuff. He's like, Confucius says. I'm like, wow.
Oh, well, then it kind of like a stereotypical Hollywood kind of, snob, that kind of thing.
Still, like, imagine if he was running for president. Oh, good God. Scary stuff.
All right, but so far the one that we're watching currently, or at least caught glimpses of, would be what else? Camp WWE.
Oh, yes. The best web series I've ever watched.
I only watched one episode, but I'll admit I actually thought it was really funny.
I'm gonna be honest. I looked at it and I judged it already on the art style, which I have to apologize for because I looked at that movie and I'm like, this not movie but show. This animation's so terrible.
Yeah,
it's so weird. It's like so oddly drawn. I'm just so they're kids at a camp. I get that. I thought it would have been more differently, as in kids are coming to the camp and they're wrestling.
It had like some pretty interesting themes in there. My favorite, of course, is Operation Slaughter. By the way, for those who are wondering, the main character is John Cena, who's a little kid, but
oh, really? The main character is John Cena? I did not know that. Man, it makes like he's like the head of the face of the company or something. like that.
So he's in camp and he hates it. He wants to leave, but then the guy running the camp is, of course, Vince McMahon himself. Yeah. But he got only 2 camp counselors, which is, of course, his daughter Stephanie and her boyfriend Triple H in their teenage years. So the funny thing that I liked was Operation Slaughter. So basically,
when the music played and everything,
yeah,
and when the thing was raising up, But that's like just if he was leaving. Just imagine if
it literally showed an epilogue of Sergeant Slaughter, just sitting in his chair, checking out the time or that red siren alarm, like every 5 seconds. He checks it while he waxes the RPG and other kind of stuff. And so when he gets cued in, the platform goes. Raises, the rooftop pops open, and he's ready to shoot down his target, whoever that may be.
But as you watch the show, though, it's not really kid friendly. It's it's very adult humor.
Very adult humor.
But however, it did remind me of one movie since it's a crazy show. But One Crazy Summer, John Cusack. Did you ever watch it? Wow. It's pretty funny for those who don't know what One Crazy Summer is. It's my favorite John Cusack movie. Such a great movie because it's about this guy and his friend. They both graduate high school, and the dude doesn't. He's a failure because his parents, he doesn't play basketball very well. So he goes to this island, Nantucket, and he starts having all this shenanigan adventures. He meets friends. He meets a girl who has a psychopathic boyfriend who wants to build more lobster restaurants with his dad and make an estate. And they're going through all this stuff, and there's just so much craziness. One of their friends gets trapped in a Godzilla suit, and he decides to go to the party because the zipper's stuck and crushes the model of the town that he had, and he drinks hot sauce and he puts a cigar in his mouth and he starts spitting fire. It's so hilarious. And he hits then they do an exact scene where they hit the telephone wires and there's an Asian guy in the front row that looks up and he starts screaming and he goes Gojira, and then he goes, great party, yeah, and the guy starts strangling him. He's like, I can't believe you just thought of that as a great thing. And then their uncle has this weird obsession to win the summer lotteries that always happen. There's those radio call-a-thon things.
Oh yeah.
Be the 10th caller to win $5 million. And he's like, you can be the one winner that wins $20 million.
So immediately he's sold.
And he's like, no, but the thing is, he lost every single year, and it's been 20 years or something like that. And he's just sitting there in a bathrobe, losing his hair, not showering and all, smoking a cigarette, all shake hand. And he's like,
wow.
Get out of here. I want to live my dream. Why can't they support my dream? I'm going to win this. I'm going to win this year. And he's about to lose his mind. The funniest part is he wins, then his telephone cord snaps.
So he couldn't claim his prize.
He couldn't claim it because then it lost the call and then someone else won.
Oh my gosh.
He waited a long time to win, and that happens.
It's kind of like Time Enough at Last in the Twilight Zone. He finally gets what he wanted.
It was finally time.
Yeah. Oh, man.
And you just watch him just snap totally. He's just, I can't believe it. But the main character, John Cusack's character, is called Hoops. They call him that because he misses every basket he tries to shoot. But he's actually trying to get into art school, and what he needs is a submission piece. And the submission piece wants to be a love story. So he talks about this rhino and his quest for love and how he's never finding it. But then even his other friends are like, there's these two twin brothers who are pretty much screw-ups. And they bury their friend in the sand, and the friend ends up suffocating because this giant guy puts his beach chair over and starts eating chili and beans, farts and knocks him unconscious. And the lifeguards pull him out of the hole. They're like, you give him the mouth. I don't want to give him mouth. You give him the mouth. I don't want to give him mouth. And they start fighting over who's going to give the guy that's unconscious mouth to mouth or he dies. And there's just, it's so many fun things that are in that movie. I actually recommend you to go on it. Other actors that are in it is like Curtis Armstrong. Curtis Armstrong from Revenge of the Nerds, right?
Oh, right.
Yeah. And I forget. See, this is the moment I hate is when I finally find a movie I like. I forget the whole cast.
It happens.
It's one of these summer movies where it's not summer unless you watch it. True. I recommend it.
Nice. All right, so let's wrap up the show with the random question of the day. We have another viewer submission, once again from Wimplow86. So the question is, what is your number one guilty pleasure as far as movies are concerned? So I think for me, I'm struggling to pick either Weekend at Bernie's or Deuce Bigalow, Mel Gigolo.
You stole Deuce Bigalow out of me. It's not the movie. I was thinking about it, but what was so bad about Weekend at Bernie's though?
Well,
besides the fact that it was a dead body that they're parading around with.
It's one of those movies that are on par, just a bit above par. I didn't even bother reading what critics of today have to say, because in IMDb and in Rotten Tomatoes, people's tastes change over time, and to this day, you can still leave a review for something that dated 20 years ago, without realizing how the culture was different back in the day. So if I were to take a wild guess, maybe it's because it's a dumb premise that would never work in real life. Because today,
but don't you think that's what made the movie like so popular? Because
exactly.
it's something you can never get away with.
It's because again, by today's standards, movie critics or movie
reviewers
of sorts love to base the
I can
story
see what you're
on
going
logic now.
Because logically a dead body will start to stink up, and there's all these things. Like, how do you explain that? And also, why don't they ever question why there's sunglasses on him, or why they're walking with him and he can't walk on his own? But let's just say we had a dance that lasted a little bit of a trend. Yeah, the Bernie, just.
It was funny.
It was funny.
I loved it.
It's those movies where you can't have logic define what the movie's about.
It has to just be just flat out ridiculous entertainment.
But like for me, it's like I just enjoyed it because it was just it's McCarthy and Silverman or Silverstone, whichever one it is, and I don't know. I just enjoyed it.
Yeah. Like to this day, I love the gag where they have Bernie tied up to both guys, right? And they want to make it look as if he's walking with them. So they're like, okay, let's go, 1, 2, 3, and then they raise his hand in the air like that, and they're like, hold the boat, and you can just see him limp, but they got that limp flopping all over. And then that one guy who's trying to finish the job, he believes that Bernie is alive. He's like, I gotta go back and finish the job, and he went back 3 times.
And that's shame on his part to not know what a dead body looks like. I mean, that's one of those things where I was hoping Estelle Getty will be like, he's dead. You can light firecrackers in his ear. He's dead.
No, but that's why they had him in the straitjacket, because he's like, look at him, he's alive. He's and like the funny thing is, by the time they put the body on the gurney, he's like this, laying back, just staring at him, like as if he's just relaxing. Mm-hmm. Oh man! But going back to Deuce Bigelow though, like
no, that wouldn't be mine. Like for me, it's a tie between 50 First Dates and shucks. I just had the movie title in my head. I just totally slipped my mind.
Well, 50 First Dates, I'll admit, was a decent Adam Sandler flick.
Would you call it decent?
No, it was decent at its lowest. But for me personally, I enjoyed it and I could watch it over and over again. I guess probably it has something to do with cultural ties.
That's the other movie, Master of Disguise.
Master of Disguise?
I will say, as terrible as that movie was, I enjoyed it.
Were you disappointed that that they cut out the whole turtle thing? Like, am I not turtly enough for the turtle club? And he says turtle. That's the one.
I'm just glad they cut out that. Did they cut out the scene where he bites off the guy's nose? I forgot. Because there's a part where he goes in the show and he comes off, he bites the nose, but he spits it back on the guy's face. Like when I heard Master of Disguise, it was supposed to be a fun comedy. That was
more like a career breaker for the guy.
Dana Carvey, you were in Wayne's World. One of the best SNLs of all time skits. I'm sorry, did not finish that, but to hear that Coneheads did better than Master Disguise.
Coneheads was actually good.
But I like Coneheads a lot. But when I watch Master Disguise, like this makes me love it a lot more.
Well, you love Coneheads more because of Master of Disguise? Is that what you're saying?
No, it's like because I look at movies like that, and it was just as a kid, Coneheads are so weird to me. I just never could like it.
Oh,
but
I see.
It makes me appreciate all those weird movies now because I'm looking just like Energico. Why not just say Energy? Do we have to have like the Who's Your Daddy slaps? Like, what's up with that? Like, there's just so many things, and then to find out the midget in the robot, or I'm sorry if I offended people, little person. Like, then it's like a guy who looks like Mario that never eat the mushroom yet. I'm like, what the heck is up with that? There's so much weird things, and I don't know. That movie just like you're gonna be white belt, and you need to get up to 250 different types of belts in this. Okay, how many colors of the rainbow are there again, and how many colors can we mix up in 5 times? But then it's like they're making fun of the girl because she has a small butt and goes, "What? What? You want to enter?
My mind just had a blip. Are we still talking about Master of Disguise again?
Yeah, I just totally ranted on it.
Yeah,
because there's these weird scenes like I'm depicting in that movie that just made me question the whole thing. Like the guy was doing the scene from Jaws.
Yeah,
Fat
yeah,
kids go in the
so,
water.
yeah, and that's why I drew a blip. Like, did they really throw in that much references in one movie?
Yeah.
Because I've never finished the whole thing, even when I was a kid.
Let me put it this way: Batman v Superman wasn't clustered as badly as this movie was.
Oh, ouch.
Yeah, I will say that. But for Rotten Tomatoes, to give it, I think it was 2%. Nostalgia Critic said.
Oh, that's.
I'm not too sure. Yeah, but it was terrible. But I did. That's what made me want to watch it. Was that turtle guy thing? I was like, I want to see how this is going. Turtle. I'm not turtly enough for the Turtle Club because my mom guy's like, you're gonna watch it, and then we watched it. I'm just, what did I just watch?
Yeah.
And then it's like you're trying to get these things, and they're showing all his things. I get he's an impressionist. He's supposed to be good at them, but when you're watching the post-credit scenes from the clips and they're dancing and all that stuff, I'm just like, okay. The one scene that made me love Nostalgia Critic's review is when he's like coming as a Scarface character. He's like, let me ask you something, man. Do you have a little wiener and tiny nuts? Sorry, sir? Because I like when I have a little wiener and tiny nuts. I'm like,
oh, that thing.
And I'm just, not funny, but when I watch Nostalgia Critic do it, he comes out and he says, and he laughs and he's like taking a bat and he's like beating somebody down. He's like, ha 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 ha.
Yeah, that gag.
Like, it just made me laugh so much more that I had to watch somebody's review to make me laugh at this movie.
Oof.
Yeah, that's how bad it was.
All right, so let's wrap it up from here.
On that note, I'd pick 50 First Dates anytime.
Yeah,
just because I hated Rob Schneider's part in that movie.
I actually thought that his character was okay, but at the same time, I just loved some of the punchlines that he had.
I liked it, like, you know, shocks, like, but when you touch the power.
Yeah,
punch.
yeah,
I got
that's
that
the best
stuff.
one.
There's some stuff like, okay, you're not really making me laugh on it. You're kind of pushing it, Rob.
Okay.
Oh, come here. Oh, really? That's how you're gonna go? Or like, hey man, this is making my sister clean her hotel room and stuff. And just, oh god.
You didn't find that funny?
No, I didn't at all.
Oh.
Because that reminded me of a lot of bad memories.
Oh, I got it.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, so let's wrap it up here. Big thanks to Maui Comics and Collectibles. Follow the store on Facebook and Instagram at Maui Comics. If you did love this episode and would love to see more episodes of Tuesday Morning Shenanigans in the future, feel free to like, subscribe, leave a comment in the comment section. And if you have a random question of the day that you would love to see us answer in the next episode, leave it in the comments. Leave it in the comments and we will get to them. Swan, is there anything you want to plug?
Also, yeah, for Encounters of the Nerd Kind, I understand that there's no YouTube page, no Twitter page, no Facebook page. That's
I only been hashtagging.
Yeah, it's just I'm just a trending hashtag on Instagram. I understand that, but the reason why, because I took down the YouTube page just because I wasn't satisfied with the email. I had no longer access to it, which also led to why the Facebook page is no longer being posted on. So pretty much I'm establishing a new, more reliable way of getting connected to it through social media without using my personal stuff. So till then, we just came up with our logo, and we're looking forward to making a new Facebook page, a new YouTube account, a new Twitter feed, and Instagram. So please stay posted for that.
Also, and if you want to see figure reviews and more, check out the Rave Corner. It is myfavorite.blogspot.com. So that will be all for today. Until then, thank you for checking out the video, and we will see you next time.
All right, watching Travis.